Welcome to my channel World of Design by Gaurav Mandal. So this channel is dedicated to all the design enthusiasts all over the world who wants to know more about the design industry. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic which most of my fashion design students have a confusion with. So this So a lot of time design students in India, they want to pursue a course internationally because they think that doing a course internationally will give them a global exposure of fashion. And the only problem that comes here is it's very difficult for them to get proper information. There is information on websites, there is information through consultants, but most of the time it's very confusing and it's very difficult to figure out that how the whole life of an international design college looks like. You know, what is the experience that student goes through? What are the career perspective? Do they do internship? What are the subjects that are taught? How to even get admission there? So there are lots and lots of questions that keep arising when students want to do international course in design. So for today's session, we have a special guest, Miss Belinda, who is the Dean of the Fashion Design Department from Whitecliff College, New Zealand. We also have another guest, fashion design student, content writer, and a social media influencer, Simran, who is very keen to pursue a degree internationally. So now I'm going to give this platform to Simran, who can get all her questions answered by Miss Belinda Watt.
Hello, sir and ma'am. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I'm a fashion design student, content writer, and a social media influencer. This is really important for me as well as for many of my friends who want international exposure in fashion industry. But unfortunately, the online information about the fashion industry of various international colleges is very confusing. I really want to know about the admission process, subjects that are taught. Is it easier for an Indian student to do an international education in another country? Internship, job, and work culture, and so on. Please tell me something about yourself in Whitecliff College, New Zealand.
Hi, my name is Belinda Watt. I'm head of the fashion department at Whitecliff College of Arts and Design in Auckland, New Zealand. I have been running the program for 27 years. The college is a fine arts college with majors in fine arts, fashion design, photo media and graphic design, and we also run several master's programs, Master of Fine Arts, Master of Arts Administration, and we have a new program, Master of Fashion and Sustainability and Master in Arts Therapy. The fashion students at Whitecliff College focus on establishing a contemporary design style. They have a strong emphasis on contextual studies and academic studies that informs their design process. So at Whitecliff, all students from each major group go to various contextual lectures together, whether that be communications, business studies, art history, design history, theory papers, business and marketing, and then they relate these to their specific area of study. In the fashion program, students begin their studies learning the basics of pattern making and garment construction, creating a library of pattern blocks. Later on in their first year of study, they move into design assignments where they can refer back to their library of pattern blocks and create creative designs.
To be frank, ma'am, I'm very bad with pattern making. Do you think that pattern making is important to become a fashion designer?
At Whitecliff, we emphasise the importance of understanding pattern making. As a designer, you can't be a good designer if you don't understand how your patterns are made. So some young students might want to avoid pattern making if they're not technical thinkers, but it's very important to foster their knowledge in pattern making so that they can design what they envisage and that it can be a working garment, because otherwise it might not be a successful garment to wear. The same goes for stitching. To understand the stitching, how a garment is constructed, how it is, why certain things are put together with the fabrics, why certain weights of fabric are important, why certain interlinings and taping is important to give the garment structure or support. That's also very important in terms of the design. If you don't understand that your design won't be successful. Some students also like to study and train as pattern designers. They want to be pattern designers in the industry, and some want to go into costume design or into movie and theatre production. I think because students at Whitecliff have such a broad range of design styles and design aesthetics, they do a broad range of careers. They move into a broad range of careers when they go into the industry as well.
In India, we have a lot of industry interaction. Does the college also provide industry visits, and can we do an internship?
We gave this platform to Simran, who can get all her questions answered by Miss Belinda Watt.
In Year 3, students do a 1 week internship in the industry. They can choose who they'd like to go and work with, and it can be a designer, it can be assisting a photographer in photo shoots. It can be working alongside the Fashion Museum, which is a museum in Auckland that has exhibitions. It's not in a stable place, it moves. And they can do it a week at a time or 1 day a week as it suits them and the designer. In Year 4, students go out and do a 3-week internship. And the idea behind that is that they start to make stronger relationships with people in industry who they may then look for work with. So they might do 3 weeks in one place, or they might do 1 week with one designer, 1 week with a different kind of company. Sometimes students travel internationally for their internships, so they might go over to Australia for an internship, or students have been to America for internships. It's completely up to the student where they'd like to go.
So ma'am, our teachers keep emphasizing on professionalism and deadline. Are they really so important?
So professionalism is very important, and so paying attention to deadlines is very important, because if you have a collection due for a buyer, the buyer's not going to wait longer. And so if your collection is due on the 15th of April, your collection is due on the 15th of April. But you are not necessarily in class Monday to Friday 9 AM till 5 PM. You have lectures at different times, so you might have a fashion studio class Monday morning, Wednesday afternoon and Friday morning, and then you might have some other lectures for an hour and 40 minutes 3 or 4 times a week on other days. But you have some free time where you can be designing, where you can be in the library researching, or where you can be out in the industry selecting fabrics, or you can be down at the city library, or you can be going to a movie for inspiration and thinking about your creative process.
Hi Belinda, I also have some questions from you. Now I want to know, your graduating show is very famous. So how do you conduct your graduation show?
Students at years 2, 3 and 4 all present on the catwalk at the end of the year, which is quite unique to Whitecliff. So year 2s present their 2-piece collection on the runway, year 3s a 6 outfit collection, and year 4s a 9 outfit collection. Coordinate the whole show themselves really. They all select their own models with a bit of help from faculty. Some are professional models, some are friends, some are scouted on the street, some are students, and they have their hair and makeup and their music all pertinent to their concept. So this is a very important part, that they actually have to convey their concept on the runway. So they're not sharing models, and they are assessed on the runway. They're assessed in the studio before the show, but the final assessment is completed when they present on the runway. It's a big event, about 1,000 people, so we have friends and family and industry guests as well. Whitecliff Fashion Department has a very strong connection with the fashion industry in New Zealand. We work with local designers who come in and critique the students' work. They look at their draft collections and help them edit. They come in and talk about their own practices when they're designing, and students also go out for internships in both year 3 and in year 4. We get a lot of communication with the industry looking for assistance with shows, dressing or styling, and students readily put their hand up and go and assist with those. One of the things that we like to encourage is building those relationships strongly and consistently throughout their 3 years of study, because, or 3 or 4 years of study, because then it's good for getting employment at the end of their degree, of course.
Belinda, I wanted to know what should be the kind of portfolio that a student should be carrying when they are trying to enroll for an international college.
Whitecliff College of Arts and Design welcomes international students. So students from Pearl Academy be very welcome to apply to come probably from year 2 onwards, or to complete their degree, or to come and do our Fashion and Sustainability Masters, depending on their previous qualifications. The best way to apply is to present a portfolio of work that shows your true design style and what you're truly interested in. So because we're small, we like to foster individual design style. We don't have any particular aesthetic that we're looking for, and we believe that we nurture the individual. So the best way to present a portfolio is your designs, your design development, the kind of research you've done, some storyboards, mood boards, so we can understand your aesthetic and your ability to put together a look and develop from that. It doesn't matter what the aesthetic is, it's more about how you would develop from your mood board or your storyboard and from your research. It's important to have some good pattern making knowledge, depending on what level you're coming in at. So you can always show examples of pattern making in your portfolio as well. Just put them in, little details in the sleeve of a portfolio, whether it's if you're designing an interesting cuff or an interesting piece of dart manipulation, just include a little bit of a calico part of the garment. Photos of finished work, of course, is recommended, so you can put in images of your previous collections that you've done and anything that you're passionate about. So the passion is the more important thing, really. If you're passionate about something, that will take you, where you want to go, and have a good idea of the international brands that you like and be able to articulate why you like them. Probably a good idea to have a look at some New Zealand designers as well, so you're familiar with the New Zealand market. They don't have to be your favourite designers, you don't need to like our designers just because you're coming to New Zealand, but it's a good idea to be aware of the design style that is prominent in New Zealand.
Can you also let us know what is the design process that you students follow?
So when students are designing their collection at Whitecliff College of Arts and Design, they choose a concept, and the concept can be anything that they want to explore. They do a rigorous amount of research into that concept, and they analyse it critically. So they write about it, and they write how it might inform their design ideas. While they're researching, we expect to see little design ideas cropping up throughout their research. They don't need to stick to those ideas, but when they're looking at something, they might be starting to think about collars, or they might be starting to think about cuffs, and we like to see the designs emerging throughout the process. When they actually start drawing, they usually choose a silhouette first, because the silhouette relates to your concept. Whether it's an I-line silhouette or an A-line silhouette, strong or floaty and feminine, it must relate back to your concept. So it's one of the key things that reflects what you're trying to convey. Students then, obviously, they establish their colour palette. As students, we recommend that their colour palette's not too broad, because otherwise it gets too hard to make it cohesive. So they usually choose around 5 or 6 key colours. They might have other little colours, that they include, but around about 5 or 6 key colours. They don't have to follow trends, they can choose whatever palette they like. And then from that they start developing their designs and their design elements, the strong features that will repeat, whether they're broad shoulders or they're V-necks, or they're going to use ruffles on the neck and on the cuff and on the hem. And then they produce a draft collection, which is then put before faculty and edited to select the strongest garments, so that we create greatest impact when they put those garments on the runway.
Belinda, this is like a personal question, because I keep emphasizing on the importance of textile knowledge for fashion design students. I actually made a video on that, and I just wanted to have your point of view regarding the importance of textile for a fashion designer.
So it's very important to have a very sound textile knowledge. Students at Whitecliff mostly use natural fibres. We definitely promote beautiful fibres, because the end result is usually nicer. So predominantly they use cottons, a lot of silk, A lot of wool if they're making a winter collection, so they can do either winter or summer, and linens. Some synthetic fibres are used, but we don't encourage it because usually the final result is not as nice when it goes down the runway. But having that textile knowledge is something that we talk about a lot, and it's not something that happens quickly. So when students go to the fabric stores, we always explain how important it is to collect samples and feel them and get to recognise what fabrics feel like and get to understand how they react and how they handle in different garments and their suitability, really, you know, what's suitable for a long skirt, what's suitable for a fitted dress, what's suitable for a fitted jacket. Students must understand this to be able to design appropriately.
Belinda, I also wanted to know, I mean, what is the importance of a consumer in this whole design education?
So students are also required to write about their target market, so they have to position their garments in the market. They have to describe who their customer is, what the lifestyle of their customer may be, what they might be interested in, the kind of things they might, the employment they might have, the leisure time they might be involved in, and therefore the garments, the type of garments they might buy. And they also do their own store design. So some students might want a, you know, fancy commercial store frontage. Some might be a more destination shop where you walk down the alleyway and, you know, up some stairs to a little back street, hard to find place, but it's a destination shop.
Okay, can you let me know that what is the career perspective of Whitecliff College? What do your students do when they graduate? Do they start their label or they work with someone?
So upon graduation, our students usually enter the industry as workroom assistants. Some students go out as designers and start their own boutique, but we do encourage them to have at least 2, 3, 4 years in the industry gaining experience. They don't all do that, you know, some like to go out and start immediately, but mostly they go out as workroom assistants. Some go and assist as stylists for photo shoots, some work in bigger merchandising companies, and a few go into further education for teacher training in teaching textiles and fashion in high schools.
Belinda, now I want one advice from you. How does my graduating students, they make a cohesive collection? What is the design process?
So when our students design for their collections, they choose a concept and research that concept, critical analysis of the concept, and then they develop their designs. And so when they do their design development, that's quite a rigorous drawing process, and we look for things to be cohesive. So we teach the students to design a collection that's cohesive in terms of fabrics, colour palette, silhouette, design details. And so these things have to be repeated to give a cohesion to the collection.
How to apply for a master's degree in your college?
So Whitecliff College of Arts and Design would also welcome students who want to begin their fashion degree at Whitecliff, who are students who have just completed their high school years and they would like to enrol in a degree in New Zealand, and they can come and study at Whitecliff College of Arts and Design from year 1 through to their year 4 and continue into their masters if they would like to. So for those students, they need to provide a portfolio of what they've done in their high school years, showing an overview of art and design. They don't have to have specialised in textiles or fashion. If they have, they can include that. They can include some examples of drawing. They can include some examples of photography if they've done that, and also a letter of intent. So they just write about why they want to come and study at Whitecliff and why they want to do.
Thank you, Belinda and Simran, for partnering with me and creating this collaborative video. And I hope all the viewers, if you are a design enthusiast, this video was able to create a level of clarity in your head. And if you want to have more clarity, kindly subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you soon. Thank you. Namaste.